And then you sent a letter to these guys asking another fundamental question. What do you do all day? And what was the response you said? Most of them did get back with you?
Most of them didn't respond, and we were hit with disciplinary charges.
So the administrators couldn't respond to a simple question. You're taking in $700 million a year. What the heck are you 3,800 administrators doing The administrators didn't respond, but the administration came after you. Is that right?
That's right. When you investigate the administration, it turns out they investigate you back.
Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to Signal 76, where we cut through the lies and deliver the truth the mainstream media refuses to tell you. Today, we're exposing the systematic corruption and outright assault on free speech happening at our elite universities. What you're about to hear will shock you to your core. Hit that subscribe button right now, smash that like button, and stick around until the end, because what I'm revealing about Brown University will open your eyes to how deep this corruption goes. Your engagement helps us fight back against the algorithm that silences conservative voices.
The chairman of the full committee, Mr. Jordan, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Shea, what did you say tuition was again at Brown, annual tuition?
It's $93,064 in direct costs.
93, and that doesn't count room and board and books and everything. That's just tuition, right?
No, that's including room and board.
That's everything? Okay, $93,000. How many students you say again was at Brown? Over 7,000, I think you said?
7,000.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money coming in. Maybe it could be some grants, it could be some aid, it could be some, loans, whatever, but 93,000 times 7, it's like $700 million coming into Brown every year. And you asked a fundamental question, sort of simple question. You asked the question, where the heck's all the money going, right? And you said, maybe I'll check the administrators. How many administrators are having? You said, I think the number you said was 3,805, is that right?
Yep.
And then you sent a letter to these guys asking another fundamental question. What do you do all day? And what was the response you said? Most of them did get back with you?
Most of them didn't respond, and we were hit with disciplinary charges.
So the administrators couldn't respond to a simple question. You're taking in $700 million a year. What the heck are you 3,800 administrators doing The administrators didn't respond, but the administration came after you. Is that right?
That's right. When you investigate the administration, it turns out they investigate you back.
Yeah, and it was interesting to me because the ranking member of the full committee and the ranking member of the subcommittee talked about academic freedom and the First Amendment. You were asking these questions on behalf of a student news publication, right?
Right.
Was it Brown? What's the name of your paper? Brown Spectator?
Yep.
And they come after you. Why do you think they did that? Why did they come after? Well, first of all, what did they come after you about? What did you allegedly do wrong?
Well, first it was emotional and psychological harm, invasion of privacy, and misrepresentation. And then they decided to charge me with violating the technology policy.
Asking someone how they spend your money is emotional harm? That's what they alleged?
Apparently.
And then what happened in the investigation?
Well, then they escalated and they charged the entire board of directors of the Brown Spectator for violating Brown's trademark because our publication is named the Brown Spectator, which is just a completely bogus claim. And
are there other newspapers that Brown would use Brown in the name of the paper?
Yes, our other newspapers, the Brown Daily Herald.
Probably in the entire history of the university, there's been some kind of Brown publication, right?
Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Why do you really think they did it? Why did they really come after you?
I think that they were upset that we unveiled the rot that was going on. All these administrators with pretty useless jobs. And
that's certainly one reason. They were mad at you, but I think it's probably more, I think they were trying to make sure no one else would do it in the future. That's always the way it works. The left comes after people. They want to chill speech so it doesn't happen again. Do you think that was part of their motivation?
I think that certainly was true, but it backfired terribly.
Sure did, because you're brave enough to keep talking. You can come here and testify. So God bless you for doing that. Now you can have, I'll direct this to you, Mr. Martin. You can have a bloated bureaucracy when you're colluding on price and making sure you're not competing on price with other similarly situated institutions. Is that right, Mr. Martin?
Yes.
And you're not supposed to do that, are you, according to the law? Is that right, Mr. Martin?
To collude on price, it's per se unlawful.
It's per se unlawful. And you can also have bloated bureaucracy when you collude on price and you limit output, you limit class size. Is that right, Mr. Martin?
That's correct.
And do you think that's going on at these? There's a third one. You can also do all this if you engage in perfect price discrimination, where you get all this information on the student and their families, what they make, where it goes, what they owe, what their retirement is, all this information. You can say that student can pay this amount, and you'll take it right to the edge where they can pay and get perfect price discrimination. So when you do those three things, you can afford to have 3,805 administrators for 7,000 students. Is that right, Mr. Martin?
You make an excellent point. The more perfect the information, the more perfect the collusion can be, algorithmically or otherwise.
Of course, and that's exactly what's going on. Is that right, Dr. Cooper?
The evidence is certainly consistent with that, yes.
That's what the evidence shows. And yet the other side says, oh, how dare Mr. Fitzgerald have this hearing? You got to be kidding me. They tried to chill the speech of a news publication at the university for a student they're supposed to be serving asking a simple and fundamental question. And they want to chill that because they don't want anyone to look under the covers and see that they're colluding on price, they're limiting output, and they're doing perfect price discrimination. Imagine that. Imagine that. And we're not supposed to have a hearing? Holy cow. I want to thank the chairman for doing the hearing. I want to thank all of you for testifying. And Mr. Shea, thank you for stepping forward and letting the country know what's going on at these elite universities.
Will the gentleman yield for a quick
I
question?
yield back to the chairman. I'll yield. You got.
Well, I just wonder if your feelings are the same about the attacks on a private student publication called the Harvard Law Review taking place by the Trump administration right now.
Well, I think the chairman or the ranking member knows that you and I have been strong defenders of the press. We have co-sponsored together the Press Act, defending the press. I will continue to do that. But I'm focused on the situation in front of us today, Mr. Shea at Brown University.
I'm with you. Hold the thought, and more power to the free press at Brown and at Harvard.
God bless America.
Gentlemen's time has expired. That concludes today's hearing. We want to thank our witnesses.
Unanimous consent request.
Oh, Mr. Nadler has a
What we witnessed in this congressional hearing proves what we've been saying for years. These universities are leftist propaganda machines designed to indoctrinate our children while bankrupting American families. Brown University charges $93,000 per year. With over 7,000 students, they're raking in $700 million annually. Where's this money going? They have 3,800 administrators for 7,000 students. That's more than one administrator for every 2 students. What are these people doing? They're parasites feeding off American families while pushing their woke agenda on our children. When a brave student journalist from the Brown Spectator asked these administrators what they do all day, instead of transparency, they came after him with disciplinary charges. They accused him of causing emotional harm for asking basic questions about spending tuition money. Ask questions, get punished. Demand accountability, get silenced. But it gets worse. They went after the entire editorial board for trademark violation because they used Brown in their publication name. This wasn't about trademark law. This was intimidation, sending a message to every student who might dare question the system. This is exactly what the left does. They don't debate ideas. They silence opposition through intimidation and lawfare. They want to create a chilling effect, so no one else will have courage to ask hard questions. The testimony revealed something even more sinister. These universities engage in illegal price fixing and collusion. They practice perfect price discrimination, gathering extensive financial information about families and extracting the maximum amount possible, pushing families to financial ruin. This isn't education. This is extortion. They limit class sizes and restrict enrollment to artificially create scarcity and drive up demand. It's monopolistic practice designed to maximize profits while providing minimal value. They're treating education like a luxury commodity rather than a fundamental right. The corruption runs so deep that when Congress investigates, the same people who lecture us about democracy suddenly don't want oversight. They claim to support free speech, but only when it serves their agenda. The moment someone asks uncomfortable questions, they deploy every tool to silence opposition. What happened to the student at Brown is happening at universities across America. Conservative students are silenced, traditional viewpoints suppressed, and anyone questioning leftist orthodoxy is branded a threat. This isn't education. This is indoctrination. The student debt crisis crushing young Americans isn't an accident. It's the direct result of these predatory practices. Universities have no incentive to control costs because students will borrow whatever amount is necessary. The federal government enables this through unlimited loan programs. But here's what gives me hope: patriots. We have brave young Americans who refuse to be silenced. Despite facing disciplinary action and legal threats, this student continued asking hard questions and testified before Congress. This is the courage we need more of in America. We need more investigations like this. We need transparency about where tuition money goes and what value students receive. We need to break up the cartel controlling higher education. The solution isn't more government funding. The solution is competition, transparency, and accountability. Parents need to ask hard questions before sending children to these institutions. Don't just look at rankings. Look at what your child will actually learn, the faculty biases, graduation rates, and debt burden. Consider alternatives like trade schools and community colleges that provide practical skills without bankrupting your family. The conservative movement needs to take education seriously. We can't cede this ground to the left while complaining about results. We need to build our own institutions and support conservative faculty. This hearing wasn't just about Brown University. It was about every university betraying American families while enriching themselves through corrupt practices. It was about systematic suppression of conservative voices and economic exploitation of students. The brave student journalist represents the best of America. He saw injustice and spoke out. He faced retaliation and didn't back down. This is the courage we need in every institution across America. We cannot allow the left to continue using universities as weapons against American values. We cannot allow them to bankrupt families while providing worthless degrees and toxic ideologies. The time for action is now, patriots. Support brave journalists willing to ask hard questions. Demand accountability from universities receiving taxpayer funding. Vote for representatives who will investigate and reform higher education. Choose educational options that align with your values. This isn't just about education policy. This is about America's future. Every student graduating with massive debt and radical ideologies becomes a vote for policies that will destroy our country. Every family bankrupted by predatory practices becomes dependent on government assistance. But we're going to fight back with truth, courage, and determination. We're going to expose corruption and build alternatives that serve American families. Share this video with everyone you know. Comment below with your thoughts. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our content as we continue exposing the truth. The fight for America's future is happening in our universities, and patriots like you are the key to victory. Stay strong, stay informed, and never stop fighting for truth. This is Signal 76, and we'll see you in the next video.